guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It's 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. This is where I take all the questions that you asked over the course of the week, and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. First of all, before we go anywhere, I want to say thank you so much for continuing to check out Magic TV. It means the world to me. I put a lot of time and effort into these into these videos, and the fact that anybody sticks around to watch them, it means the world. It really does. Now, if you've not seen a Q&A before, I answer all questions, anything. There is nothing off the table. If I don't answer your question, I'm really sorry. Ask it again and I'll get to it next week. I typically film these on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. It's currently Wednesday morning in the office and I'm filming it now. Sometimes it can be a bit earlier, sometimes it's a bit later. If you answer it and I don't answer it, if you ask it and I don't answer it, just ask again. I also don't read the questions ahead of time. I want to have my spontaneous answer. But if there's a question that I think needs a bit of a more meaty video, I'll typically do that as well. But anyway, without that being said, there's a lot of questions here. I'm seeing like 30 odd maybe, depending on what people have said, but there's a lot of comments. So I'm going to get straight into it right now. So without further ado, let's get into this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from Jonah Berg, and Jonah Berg says, "Hey Craig, what are your top 3 favourite creations that you have bought out?" And that's a really difficult question for a creator to answer because every trick I've bought out, if I didn't love it, I wouldn't have bought it to market, and that means everything. Like when you think about all of the different tricks that I've actually produced as a product, then you think about all the stuff that's on the Netrix as well, because we've got well over 200 tricks on the Netrix, and half of them are from me, half of them are from the other instructors, but half of them are from me. So there's 100 tricks right there on the Netrix. We're uploading another 5 on Monday, tomorrow, which are mine as well. And then you add the products as well. It's very difficult to choose. Do I pick this one? Do I pick this one? But if you're talking about physical products, and again, it'd be very difficult. Top 3, right? Okay. Okay, in third place, I would say, it's so difficult. In third place, I'd say Chop. I love Chop. I love Chop to bits. It could very easily be first place. I remember bringing that out like 10, 11 years ago. And really at the time, that put me on the map. And a lot of, I had some great reviews and great creators. Everybody was doing it. And then when I came back to the Magic community and Penguin wanted to bring it back out again, a whole new generation of magicians have seen it. And Chop is just, it's just great. And if you've seen the new Chop 2.0, the, one that I bought out through Penguin Magic, the new ideas and new concepts and new sleights and new routines that you can do with it, and the idea of using it as a mystery box, with a playing card and all of this fun stuff. I really do believe that it's something special, and it's something I do an awful lot. So I'd have to say Chop would be in there. In second place, I would say the Mirage coin set. And again, this is something that I bought out many, many years ago, and I re-bought out recently. And the Mirage coin set, I've had so many people that say that as a result of buying the Mirage coin set, they've now got into coin magic and they're now starting to perform coin magic. And if you watch this channel for any length of time, you'll know that kind of my biggest mission, the thing I'm most passionate about, is getting people out there performing. I'd love to see more people going from doing this as a hobby and just doing it to themselves in the bedroom. That sounds weird, right? To actually going out and performing it to real people. And coin magic especially, I love coin magic. I think it's amazing. And I think that the Mirage coin set has actually enabled a lot of people to be able to go and take that leap into learning coin magic. And for that reason alone, that's something that should absolutely be on the list. And Alakazam did a great job of releasing it as well. And then first, see, it's weird because I know there's something coming out in probably January or February that I think is the best thing that I've ever done. Like, bar none, not even close. I've got the prototype sitting over there. Sorry to be a tease, but I've got the prototype sitting over there. And I've been working with this for 6 months now. We've just tweaked the prototypes again. Had to, because I just wanted this one little thing to be slightly more perfect. So I'm just waiting for them to come back again before we start production. But I can't wait for people to see that. I think that's the best thing I've ever done. And it solves a problem that I've always had. It solved an issue that I've always had, or a dream effect that I've always wanted to do, but I can't talk about that because that's not out yet. So I'm going to go with the Quantum deck. Now the Quantum deck was quite well, obviously it's very popular, thousands of people have bought it, but obviously there was a very small vocal minority that were talking about it can't be examined, and you know, blah 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 blah. All I can tell you is I perform the Quantum deck every single gig. Every gig. I can't go to a close-up job and not take the Quantum deck with me. I've performed it on stage, I've performed it walk around, I've performed it at tables, I've performed it in kid shows, I've performed it in every environment. I'm constantly working on new material with it, and it's something I'm very proud of. When you actually, and it's been replicated in so many different ways since I brought it out. So many different people have gone, now this is my version of the Quantum deck, this is my version of the Quantum deck, and I'm biased, but I think that the original version is still the best, where once they name that number, you deal, and there's no breaks in that dealing. They can burn your hands, and they can deal, and you can deal directly to that card. And I think one of the reasons it's so popular and so many people do it is because it is a dream effect. You put a deck down on the table, somebody names a number, you deal to that number with no apparently dodgy deals, you just deal to that number and the card is at that position in the deck. I mean, it's a dream effect, right? So I'd have to put the Quantum deck there at number 1. But you tell me. I mean, you know, I've bought a lot of tricks out over the years. I bought a lot of tricks out in the last year and a half. But before that, when I was in the community before, I bought a lot of stuff out as well. Let me know in the comments down below. What's your favourite trick that I've ever bought out? Do you agree with my list, or is there something else on there? Okay, so the next question is also by Jonah Berg, and Jonah Berg says, what are your favourite mentalism tricks? Well, I've got a whole bunch of them, to be honest. I like to think of it as mental magic, but I've got a whole bunch of them. Obviously, I would be remiss if I didn't say trivia and gossip. I don't want to make this about my own tricks, but trivia and gossip are my favourite mentalism routines to do. I like the Bob Cassidy name place routine. I like a lot of stuff by Ken Dine, a lot of stuff on Ken Dine's, what do you call it? Penguin Live was really, really good. The Magic Square I kind of think of that as mentalism, and the Magic Square is great. My favourite presentation of the Magic Square is John Archer. John Archer performed his version of the Magic Square on his Penguin Live, and it's a really strong version of the Magic Square, so that's pretty good. Really like that. Magic Square is one of those things that packs really small but plays just like ridiculously massive. Also, yeah, there's a lot of stuff by Steve Della that's really good as well. All About Eve, which is something he marketed through Alakazam, is really good. I don't know if you class it as mentalism, but you know, there's a lot of phone related, app related magic that I love that has a real strong mentalism vibe to it, a little bit like Cognito is a perfect example. Cognito is great. Inertia by Mark Kirstein, Digital Force Bag by, again, Mark and Craig Squires and Nick Einhorn. All stuff like that is really great. I'm trying to think of other stuff. There's a routine that I've mentioned this before on the channel, but there's a routine on Richard Ostlin's DVD set where you have somebody write down a time and they hold on to it, and you get a watch off somebody and they twist the watch and they can stop anytime they want to, and when you look it matches, which is really great. It's a nice impromptu trick. If you've got a card and a pen on you, you can do it anytime, anywhere, as long as people are wearing the right watch. That's great as well. I'd say they're my favourites. They're the ones I like to do the most. There's probably more that I'm forgetting, but those are I mean, and just a simple name reveal, just doing a peek and then revealing the name can be really strong. You know, can be really, really strong. I'm not going to count card tricks in there because I don't think card tricks count as mentalism tricks, really, to be honest. I mean, they are, but they're not. So out of the non-card material, that is the stuff that springs to my mind that I do an awful lot. I've probably missed 1,000 routines, but that's what instantly comes into my mind. Okay, so the next question is from Jason Staples. And Jason says, thank you, and thanks, Matt, for our chat at the London Magic Convention. Good luck, Matt. I'm sorry I keep asking the question. Will there be any content from Wayne on wedding magic? Thank you. Yes, there is. But within the next 3 or 4 weeks, we've already filmed it. We're just editing it. Within the next 3 or 4 weeks, we're going to have a ton of stuff off Wayne on wedding magic. But I'm also going to be dropping onto the Netrix the ultimate guide to getting wedding bookings, which is going to be like a 2-hour video. If you've seen the ultimate guide to getting restaurant work, which a lot of people have raved about, I uploaded that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It's going to be the same sort of thing. So it's going to be me to camera breaking down step by step exactly how I get wedding gigs. So that's hopefully, fingers crossed, it might even be up by Monday next week. That's the plan. I know we've got a very busy week ahead of us, but the plan is to try and get that up by Monday next week. If not, it'll definitely be in the week next week. But yeah, I'm putting up the ultimate guide to getting wedding gigs, and then Wayne is going to be... we've filmed so much stuff with Wayne. We're just editing it all together. We launched with about 8 things of Wayne's a couple of weeks ago, including some theory, but also some tricks. And we're going to be releasing a hell of a lot more in the next few weeks as well. And there will be a lot of content on wedding magic. So yeah, the answer is yes. There's a ton of stuff coming from both myself and Wayne Goodman on wedding magic on the Netrix. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay, so the next question is from Philip Austin. And Philip says, Craig, just purchased trivia, goes well with my director's cut and screen test. Awesome. Glad you like it, Philip. My question, in your experience performing children's magic, how long would an act be for 5 to 8 year olds and 9 to 12 year olds, considering attention span? I'm assuming a 5 to 6 minute warm up. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, from my point of view, when you're performing for kids, there's not really that much of a difference between performing for a 5-year-old and a 12-year-old. There is in terms of the content that you're actually performing, right? So there is in terms of the content, you know, what a 12-year-old is into, a 5-year-old isn't into, and vice versa. So the content is different, although you can have magic that will work for the 5-year-old and the 12-year-old. Absolutely not a problem there. But in terms of how long the length should be, to be honest, I typically do both age ranges at about 45 minutes. I have in the past many times, and the clients asked me, gone up to an hour. But in terms of the actual magic show, take away the party games and everything else, I'd say 45 minutes. The key thing is you have to make it interesting. Because kids, and even 12-year-olds, kids are super honest. If they don't like what you're doing, if they find it boring, if they're not interested in what you're doing or you're saying, they're going to switch off. It's as simple as that, and they're going to walk off. Adults will be polite. They won't do that. But kids have no filter. So you have to make sure that it's interesting. If it's not interesting, they're going to wander off and find something else that's more interesting. So with younger kids, with the 5 sort of 6-year-olds, I always say to people that are new into kids magic, that every 3 seconds there should be something happening that's going to engage those kids. Every 3 seconds, every 3 to 4 seconds. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a magic trick. It could be asking them a question, making it really interactive. It could be something funny happening, something making them laugh. It could be something outlandish that they weren't expecting. It could be a magic trick, but every few seconds you want to have something that engages their interest. And my warm-up is about 5 or 6 minutes, which leaves about 40 minutes to actually do the show. And yeah, I just make sure that it's as interesting, as engaging as I can. And you want to kind of vary things up. And I think that part of the skill, especially with younger kids, is watching the audience. And if you can see that they're waning, rebuild their attention. And that's why the warm-up is so important, because during the warm-up, I lay the groundwork, you know, and I've done a video on this, so I'm not going to do it again now. But during the warm-up, I lay the groundwork of how I want them to be and how I want them to act. And, you know, every few seconds, I'll be like, if you're having a good time, put your hand in the air, say me. I'm encouraging them to kind of be active and do stuff like this. And that's going to keep their interest. And the other thing is, you know, have something, you know, part of the thing that I do when I do magic for kids is I make balloons. So for every child, depending on the amount of kids in the audience. So if I'm, you know, if I know I'm going to make balloons, they don't know I'm going to make balloons. So I might go, you know, if I can see their attention waning at about the 30-minute mark, I can say, right, by the way, guys, who wants a balloon model? Well, after this, I'm going to make balloon models for every single one of you kids that are being really well behaved. But I need you to help me with this next trick. If you help me, I'll make sure that every single child gets a balloon. Will you help me? If you do, put your hand in the air, say me. Brilliant. So it's all about engaging them. Now, older kids, they don't want to be, well, all kids really, but especially older kids, they don't want to be treated like a kid. So you need to treat them with respect. And I like doing magic in my kids show, regardless of age, that will, you know, it's not just, hey, look, I've got a yellow handkerchief. Now it's a red handkerchief. Now it's a yellow handkerchief. Thank you very much. I'm here all week. I do cups and balls. I do Rubik's Cube manipulation. I do stuff like that. And also try to do magic using the stuff they're interested in. Find out what those kids are interested in and do magic accordingly. So if they're interested in Lego, do a Lego trick. If you're doing a show for a bunch of girls, and let's say they're into princesses, sorry to be generic here, but that happens a lot of time at parties, then maybe do a princess theme trick. Think about the hook line as well. The hook line is the most important thing. When you're performing for children, how do you hook their attention? What do you say? Because coming out and going, I've got a handkerchief, is not going to hook their attention. It's why colouring routines are so popular when you're a kids entertainer. And the reason is, kids entertainers, colouring routines are so popular because kids love colouring in, regardless of age. Ryland is 10, Thea is 7. Well, he's not 10. I'm aging him. By the time this video goes out, he's going to be 10. He's 10 on Saturday. He's 9 right now. But, you know, regardless of Ryland's age, he loves colouring in. He'll sit there for hours colouring in. Thea, his sister, is 7. She loves colouring in. So if I come out and I say, hey, who here would like to do some magic colouring? Instantly, I've got their attention. So think about the different things that you can hook people in with. A great one is, hey, who'd like to learn how to do a magic trick? And you theme the presentation of the routine based on teaching them a magic trick. With older kids, with the 11 and 12-year-olds, you could actually teach them a trick if you wanted to. You could start the thing by saying, guys, I'm going to do a show. At the end of the show, I'm going to teach every single person here how to do a trick that you can show your friends and your family. Now you've got their attention. So it's just stuff like that, right? So that's a very long answer to a very short question. How long should an act be? I would say about 40 minutes, 45 minutes, but you need to make sure that you're keeping people's attention the entire time. So hopefully that answers your question, but if not, ask it below and I'll clarify next week. Okay, so the next question is from Noel Overley, and Noel says, hey Craig, hey Noel. Have you ever dabbled in what's called bizarre or geek magic? For example, the type of things in the book Swami Mantra, just to name a few, eating glass or razor blades and stuff involving one's eyes and the human blockhead stunt. How about the famous needle through arm by Harry Anderson? What's your thoughts or opinions on this type of magic that could also be called gross out magic? Just put in a big order that's for your, including your upcoming masterclass on Vanishing Ink. Can't wait to watch. Thanks, man. Really appreciate it, Noel. I hope you enjoy it. I'm really excited about people seeing my masterclass. In terms of bizarre magic or geek magic, it's not something I've really spent too much time doing. John Tremaine years ago, and I think Hanson Chen or somebody has released something similar to this that I need to look at some point. But John Tremaine years ago in a trick or tape video had something with 3 pieces of foil, where you take 3 pieces of foil and you push one into your eye, you push one into your ear, and you push one up your nose, and then you and spit them out one at a time. That's great. I've done that for years with Tic Tacs, and that's a really, you know, that's probably the closest I get to this sort of stuff, to be honest. Having said that, I do and have done and continue to do Scott Alexander's blades and Scott Alexander's needles. I think that the needle swallow is a beautiful piece for theatre and stage, and I think that it's great. I looked into doing single needle for a while, but I never really did single needle, even though I think it's a really great trick. Never really did single needle. But yeah, I mean, I studied geek magic when I was younger. Never got the guts to do the human blockhead. It's just something that freaked me out. I didn't like the idea of basically legitimately banging a nail up my nose. Wasn't something that I really thought would be a fun thing to do. So I decided against it, really. But You know, I don't have a problem with it. My friend Jester Styles, Tom Mullinger, who's an incredible magician, he does a heck of a lot of stuff like that. He'll push needles through his hand. He does needle through arm and stuff like that. And it's great. It gets a reaction. I think it's just got to fit your character. I think if you're a generic close-up magician that's going out doing, hey, let me show you an ambitious card. Look, the card comes to the top of the deck. And, oh, look, the deck has turned into a lump of plastic. How amazing is that? And look, you hold on to this ball. I'll hold on to this one. Now, look, my sponge ball's disappeared and you've got two. Oh, my gosh. By the way, now I'm going to take a needle and shove it through my eye. You know, it kind of comes out of left field. So I think you've got to have the character to pull this off. And my friend Tom, he absolutely 100% has the character to pull it off. I, however, don't have the character really. So I do a little bit in it. I dabble in it, but not really too much. But having said that, and I've mentioned this on the channel before, if you haven't already done so, go check out Geek Magic by Thomas Medina. It's one of the best resources on learning geek style magic that I've ever seen. So that's Geek Magic by Thomas Medina. Okay, so the next question is from Wani, and Wani says, hi Craig, thanks for the great video. Quick note, while you did teach the touch force on Magic TV, it isn't on the Netrix. There are 13 forces on there, but it isn't in the forces course. It doesn't show up in the search. Oh my God, it would be a great addition. Jack's over there, who runs the Netrix. Jack. Hello. Touch force, make a note of it. When we film the stuff at the Netrix tomorrow, we're going to film the touch force to add to the Sleights section. Okay. Add it into the forces section. Yeah, you're right, man. That should be in there. I can't believe I missed that one out. Thank you very much for letting me know. I'm going to make sure that I put that in there for Monday. When's the next upload? Monday. This Monday. Yeah. This Monday. We'll get it updated this Monday. So thanks for that. I really appreciate that. And that's what I love about the Netrix. We're always constantly trying to improve it. We're always working on stuff behind the scenes. So if you're a Netrix customer, a Netrix user, and you see something that you'd like to see added, or a section you'd like to see added, like we're currently in the process of adding a gaff deck section. I'm going to be putting some routines there on gaff decks because that's what people wanted. The whole point for me is the Netrix genuinely is my magnus opus, and I want it to be a resource that will help all magicians. So if there's something that you don't see on there that you want to see, let me know and we'll make it happen. So thanks for bringing that to attention. Okay, so the next question is from Seth Howard, and Seth says, so I work at a bank and I had a client hand me a $100 bill and say, can you make this smaller for me? Obviously just wanted change, but it got me thinking, are there any bill shrinking effects that are any good? You know what, man? I've never seen a bill shrinking effect. That's a really good point. I've seen mismade bill. I've seen bills getting bigger. I've seen bills changing and vanishing. I've seen almost everything you can imagine with a bill, but I've never actually seen a bill shrinking effect. You know, that's something that somebody should do. If you're a creator out there, you should come up with a bill shrinking trick, because that just makes sense, doesn't it? You know, a lot of people do. Can you make this small for me? I went into the bank and I said to the teller, hey, I've got a $10 bill here. Can you make it small for me? You got no idea what the teller did. He did this. And I was like, no, that's not good. I don't want a small bill. I want it small. Oh, and you didn't say that. Boom. And it turns into a load of dollars or something. That's great. Seth, that's great. You should work on that. That's really good. There's got to be a way to do it. Maybe the $100 bill switch, maybe. Custom printed smaller bill, $100 bill switch. Or maybe having it, you know, a bit of removable tape on the back and have it folded up. There's got to be a few different options there. You should work on it and then send me a video. I'd love to see that. Okay, so the next question is from Sting. And Sting says... what does Sting say? There we go. What are your top 10 Christmas themed tricks routines of all time? Bloody hell, top 10. Dude, you're killing me here. I don't know if I can think of 10 tricks. Let me just go on to here. I know there's some on Alakazam that are really good, but I'll give you a sneak peek here in a minute. Well, not a sneak peek, but I'll tell you about something. So let's just go to Alakazam, because I know there's some... So there's some Christmas tricks in Alakazam that I reviewed last year that were really good. So let's just have a look at this. Christmas. There we go. Right, so first of all, I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I really like, right? So first of all, you heard it here first. I've got a trick coming out through Alakazam very, very soon, ready for the Christmas period. It's my first Christmas trick, and it's called Elf. And it's a collection of gaffed cards that are specially printed to do 3 or 4 routines, right? There's a really cool sandwich style routine. There's a really cool 3-card Monty that you can do. But the main routine is this story routine where you talk about going to North Pole, and you tell this story about elves and what they get up to and what happens. And, you know, we filmed it already. It's coming out very, very soon. We got the live performances for it. It is such a great trick. I created it after Christmas last year, and I don't believe in doing Christmas tricks outside of Christmas. I think you come to November, sort of mid-November, you can start doing Christmas tricks. I've been waiting all year to perform this. I've worked it in, obviously, from a handling point of view. It's based on something I've already done, but I cannot wait to start performing this thing. It's incredible. I mean, it's really fun. Great for adults, great for kids. So I'd say Elf, which is coming soon from Alakazam, is one of my favourite tricks. There's also a bonus routine on there that I'm not going to go too much into, but it's a version of Out of This World called Naughty or Nice. I think I did it on the channel as a Magic Live about 2 years ago. That's really good, and I've included that as a bonus, including how to do it and all the routine and everything. But that's one of my favourite Christmas tricks to do at corporates, because it's really funny when you put the hat on the person's head and get them to sort out the cards. It's just really, really cool. I also did a video on this channel a couple of years ago on Christmas tricks, and from memory, I did my sticker routine as a Christmas themed trick, which I don't think I've ever put anywhere. It's going on Netrix soon, probably on the next upload, along with a load of Michael O'Brien stuff and some Justin Miller stuff. But it's a version of it's a sticker routine, so it's a little bit like by my back off routine, but using stickers, and it combines that with the web, but it's not like a scary spider. It's just really cool. I did a video on it a couple of years ago, but that's going to be going up on the Netrix soon, and that's also we'll do a new Magic Live on that as well. Outside of my stuff, I've just done a little bit of a search. There's some really cool stuff on Alakazam. So you've got The Christmas Miracle by Gary Sumter and Steve O. Watson. That was pretty good. They also had this one with Snowman or Snowway Man, or something like that. Again, that was by Gary Sumter and Steve O. Watson. And it was based on their Like Rabbits routine, where you've got 3 snowballs. It's like a little packet trick with 3 snowballs, and you put it all together and you make a snowman in their hands. That's really cool. You've got the John Horn created a Christmas paddle set last Christmas, which is really good. It's a paddle, a little bit like a turbo stick, but it looks like a Christmas tree, which is really cool, and it's got this whole Christmas themed presentation to it. Christmas Socks by Michel Couette is one of my favorite tricks of all time, and he's got a Christmas themed version of that, which both myself and Rylan crack out at Christmas. So that's a really good one. Lee Alex does a devil's bandana that's sort of Christmas themed, which is really cool. We reviewed a Christmas Monty as well a couple of years ago, which was a bit weird, but having now watched the film, it made a lot more sense than it did when I first reviewed it. Yeah, those are probably the ones that instantly spring out. I can't think of anything else, to be perfectly honest. Those are the ones that instantly spring out. There's about 10 there, right? So hopefully that answers your question. But look out for Elf. It's coming soon, and there's like 4 or 5 routines on there. I think you'll love it. Okay, so the next question is from Divishan Magician, and Divishan says, if you perform Sudden Deck by David Regal, can we have a live performance of it, please? I do perform it. I don't think we've ever done a Magic Live of it. I can do a Magic Live, and I can also, next time I'm taking a camera crew to a gig, I can do it as an actual gig as well. That might take a little bit longer, because obviously you have to do release forms and everything, but I can do that for you as well. But as Magic Live, it shouldn't be too much of a problem. Jack, can you do me a favour? Can you make a note that I need to perform Sudden Deck 3 at some point as a Magic Live? By David Regal. Thanks. I'll be, I am planning on putting together a 3 tricks from David Regal you've never seen before. That probably wouldn't be in it though, because Sudden Deck's a really popular trick. But yeah, it's great. I mean, as an opener, it's one of the strongest opening routines that you can do. So yeah, absolutely 100%. I'll perform that for you. Okay, so the next question is from Divai Ryu, and Divai Ryu says, what should you do if after performing Richard Sanders' trick Sharpie, they ask to examine the Sharpie? This can't be done because it'll say that one side says Sharpie and the other side says 6 of clubs. Now, I think he's talking about Remarkable. This is not a Remarkable Sharpie. This is a normal Sharpie. Well, it's actually not. This is actually Chop. This is Chop. I'm working on a new thing with it, but whatever. He's talking about Remarkable, which is a great trick. Now, you actually, with Remarkable, with the Richard Sanders Remarkable, you actually get 2 pens. What you get with Richard Sanders Remarkable, one side says Sharpie, and the other side says 6 of clubs. And then you have another pen that says 6 of clubs, and I think it says Queen of Hearts or something like that. So the idea is you force 2 cards on people, you bring out the Sharpie, you do a paddle move, and you shake it, and you have it change into 6 of clubs, like this. And then you put it away, and as you go to put it away, you switch for the other pen. You go, actually, let's try something else. And now you bring out the 6 of clubs on both sides, and you shake this one. And as you do, that one turns into Queen of Hearts. And now it's Queen of Hearts on one side, 6 of clubs on the other side, and it's examinable. So when you talk about how to have it examined, I'd use the second pen. However, if you just want to use one pen, let's say you're performing to one spectator, and you've only got the pen that says Sharpie on one side and 6 of clubs on the other side, and you want to actually do that routine, here's what I'd do. So I'd have the card forced, so you've got the 6 of clubs forced, and you take your Sharpie, you do your paddle move, so it's got Sharpie on both sides. You then do the shake, and you show that it now says 6 of clubs on both sides. And now what you can do is you can say, look, I tell you what, I'm going to take one of these 6 of clubs and change it back to Sharpie. Do you want me to change that one or that one at the bottom? That one at the bottom. Okay, what's right there? If I do that, now that changes back to Sharpie. Now you've got Sharpie on one side, 6 of clubs on the other side, and you can examine that. So that's the way to do it, because that's going to just keep everything examinable, right? Or the other option is you don't even do that second change, and you just say, I'm going to change one of these Sharpies into 6 of clubs, because your problem here is, how can you have them examine the Sharpie? It can't be done because they'll see that one side says Sharpie and the other side says 6 of clubs. Tell them you're only going to change one side. So you say, look, I've got 2 Sharpie logos here on this pen, one on this side, one on this side. I'm going to change one of them to help me find your card. Now, do you want me to do that one or that one? If they say this one, you just bring that to the top. And if they say the other one, you just paddle it back over again. So now you do this and you get the 6 of clubs. And you say, there you go, that's changed into the 6 of clubs. That stayed as Sharpie. And you can examine that and you give it out to them. And now it's examinable because you've only told them that there are only one of the Sharpie logos is going to change. So that's how you do it. There's a couple of different options there. But look into switching in that second pen, because when you switch the second pen in, it's done completely on the offbeat. Nobody ever notices anything at all, but it really kind of heightens the trick. So, Divai, I hope that helps. Okay, so the next question is from the Kitchen Magician, and the Kitchen Magician says, hi, Craig. Hey, Kitchen Magician. Here's my question for your next show. What's the best floating levitation effect on the market that doesn't use loops, threads, or wires? Okay. I know the zombie levitation, but that's all I know of. Stuff like self-levitations, object levitations, any suggestions or recommendations? We love you, man. Keymaster is brilliant. Thanks, buddy. So what's my favorite levitation effect that doesn't lose loops or threads or anything? I would have to say, Ryland's doing an awful lot in his show at the moment with Dancing Hank. So he started off with, and let me get this right because I don't want to mess this up. Let me just go to... there we go. Okay, so I don't want to get this wrong. So Ryland started off by using Extreme Hank in his act, which was incredible. And he's got this like 7 or 8 minute routine using the Dancing Hank, and it's beautiful. And it's my favorite routine that I've ever seen, and it's just so good. And then off the back of that, he then got, and I'm trying to fit, Impossible Hank. There you go, Impossible Hank. And he started working with Impossible Hank. Now, Dancing Hank uses thread, so it doesn't fit into what it is that you're saying. But Impossible Hank 2.0, no strings, no assistance, no problems. And that's it. It's remotely activated, a self-working, hands-free Dancing Hank that can be formed anywhere. This gimmick is easily programmable for up to 6 minutes of programming actions, including 2 separate programs. No strings to hide, no special backdrop needed. It's true. You can even do this walk around. You can take a handkerchief out your pocket, tie it up, and then have it dancing and pointing that direction and that direction and that direction. Like, this thing is so cool. So he's still doing the dancing Hank, but he's now incorporating this into it as well, because he wants to put a smaller show together. The show that the dancing Hank is pretty big, and he wants a smaller show that fits into a case. And this impossible Hank just fits into the case really kind of snugly, really well. And there's no angles, and there's no threads, and there's no setup, and there's nothing to worry about. And I was watching the tutorial with him as he was working on it, and I was like, man, that's really clever. I've never seen that before. So Impossible Hank is really good. The other thing is, you say you know the zombie gimmick, obviously. Lysander has a whole bunch of stuff that he does with bubbles. And there's this one thing he does called the bubble zombie, which is really good. It's like a zombie ball, but it's designed to be a zombie ball for a bubble, a big bubble. And what it looks like is, it looks like you've got a handkerchief, you take some bubble liquid, you blow a bubble, and it floats around all over the place. And then you cover it up with a handkerchief, and the bubble starts to float up and down like this. And then you come over and you pop it, and the handkerchief just drops. It's really beautiful. I mean, just really, really nice. So I'd say that as well. You've got that, I mean, the Haunted Key. When the Haunted Key is done right, it is such a strong moment of magic. It really is. And the Murphy's Magic Haunted Key, which is available for more good magic shops, is a really great haunted key. So I'd look into that haunted key as well. And you've got that voodoo doll that stands up. It's something that I've never really considered. And then again, you know, I've mentioned him a few times on this Q&A, but I saw my friend Jester Styles do this, and killed with it. He absolutely killed with it. I personally, when I first saw it, I was like, man, that's too obvious. I wouldn't do that. And then I saw him do it and just slay an audience with it. And I think that's, you know, that's the point. Sometimes we can overanalyze things as magicians. I do it. I know lots of other magicians do it. But having seen it, it's a really good trick. So not using threads or loops or wires or anything like that, those are the best ones, unless you want to go big. Like, my favorite illusion in my illusion show is something called a Sponsors 360. Which is a table. You lay the girl on the table, and then all of a sudden she starts floating up in the air, and it can be a volunteer from the audience, and it looks incredible. Goes up, comes down, beautiful illusion. Works like a charm. Doesn't use any type of wires at all, uses a completely different method, but the Sponsors 360 is great. Obviously, we're talking about a big illusion show here. This isn't something you'd push around and you'd do mix and mingle or anything like that, or close up. But you didn't say that. You said anything that doesn't use threads and wires, and that technically doesn't use threads or wires, so I'm throwing that into the mix as well. If I think of more, I'll let you know, but off the top of my head, those are the tricks that come to mind that I think are my favourites. Okay, so the next question is more of a statement, and it's from Zane Lance, and Zane says, hey Craig, don't have a question, but I just want to thank you for all of the effort you put into helping create a community around this subject we all love. The amount of time and effort you spend is enormous, and these insights and footage you share are very valuable. You're more than welcome, man. Thank you so much. It means the world to me. I spend a lot of time and effort putting these videos together, so whenever I see comments like that, you have no idea how much that means, so thank you very much. So the next question is from Jonah Berg, and Jonah says, do you think that Procaps is Trick of the Year? No, I don't. I don't think it's even close to Trick of the Year. I think it's a good trick. I think it's a good trick, but I think there's a lot of stuff that's come out that's better than Procaps. Lots of stuff. Lots and lots of tricks have come out that are better than Procaps. Now, that doesn't mean that Procaps isn't any good. You know, you saw my review show special. I love Procaps. It's why I wanted to get involved with the project. And the Procaps reaction, even though it's not my trick, and again, to be clear, it's not my trick, it's Lloyd's trick. All I did was I got asked to create the routines for the project, and I said yes. But it's not my trick at all. It's Lloyd's trick. However, I'm very passionate about it because I've performed it a lot, and I continue to perform it a lot. But, you know, I don't think it's Trick of the Year. No, not at all. I don't even know if it hit the top 10. Maybe it would, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. It's a strong year this year. We'll find out when we start doing the top 10. I don't even know if it hit the top 10. But it's a bloody good trick. It's a great trick. I'm talking about it an awful lot on the cafe and answering people's questions because, frankly, I don't know many people that have performed Procaps as much as me. And as I said, I think that the reaction to Procaps has been a little bit like Quantum Deck. There's some people that have just got it and they love it and they think it's amazing, and then there's some people that don't like it because they perceived an issue with the prop and that stopped them from going out and performing it, and that's their prerogative. The thing is, I wish people would actually go and try this stuff in the real world, you know, and try it rather than making a statement based on a trailer, rather than making a statement based on a still image of a prop, going out and performing it to real people. And what really frustrates me, and there might be a rant coming on this, is people turning around and saying, oh, this won't work. Forget about the evidence to the contrary. Forget about the fact that they've seen multiple live performances of this trick being done in the real world over and over again. Forget about that. Their opinion is it doesn't work, and so that's the only opinion that matters. It's fine having your opinion, but let's just keep it grounded and let's just keep it factual. You can't, you know, I could have the opinion that the sky is green. That could be my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. But if every single piece of evidence to the contrary is pointing to the sky and saying, well, no, it's not green, it's blue, then I have to accept that evidence kind of weighs against my opinion, right? And it's like, well, okay, Procaps will never work in the real world. Well, actually it does, because you've seen videos of it. You might not be able to make it work in the real world. Doesn't mean it's not going to make it work in the real world. Having said all of that, it's not the best trick in the world. No, it's not going to be in the top 10, but I think it's really good. The next question is from the Drunk Magic Ukulele Player, and he says, hi Craig, I've really enjoyed your tutorial video on forces. Thank you. If possible, could you do a tutorial video on the force Luke Skywalker uses, or is it only available on the Netrix? Luke's use of the force, it's very, very difficult. It takes years to learn this. You have to go to this place called the Dagobah system, and you have to meet this little guy called Yoda. He really is the guy to teach that, not me. It's a technique that I've never really studied. I don't really know it. But if you can find him, I'd look up this guy called Yoda, because he's the guy that can teach you the same force that Luke's using there. It's very underground, so you know, you might not be able to find a tutorial for it online or on YouTube. But if you look hard enough, and you might see. But there's another guy that teaches the technique as well. His name's Darth Vader. I wouldn't go with him. To be honest, you'll learn it incorrectly. It becomes not the same technique. I wouldn't go that route. Look up Yoda, and he's the guy that can help you with that. And you have a second question. I also have a Sooty and Sweet glove puppet. Would you like them? I don't want any payments. I just need to get them off my hands. I totally understand. I'd want them off my hands as well. No, send them to Richard Cardell. I think he's always looking for new Sooty puppets. Okay, so the next question is from Jack Gatt, and Jack says, hi Craig, question for next week. Looking at Wayne's teaching of Earl of Sandwich on Netrix, and I'm looking at his turnover top change. Any chance you could ask Wayne if he could teach or describe his top change? And let me ask Jack. Jack filmed all of Wayne's stuff. Jack, did Wayne teach his really cool top change?
I don't think he did, no.
I know he said he was going to.
Let me just check.
You look into that while I ask the rest of the question. If not, we could get Wayne to teach it. He said he was going to. He was here for like 2 days filming constantly. We just locked him in a room. Also love the Holy Sandwich he did with Matt. Do you know where this is available? The Holy Sandwich is only available at the moment through SEO Magic. If you go to SEO Magic and look for Holy Sandwich, it's on there. If you want to see a review of it, go and look at the SEO Magic review show special that I did a few weeks ago, and if you look on there, you'll see the review for the Holy Sandwich, and it's a great trick. It's really, really good, really, really practical. But yeah, the only place you can really get it is SEO Magic. Now, they do regular conventions all over the world, so if you don't want to pay postage from wherever they are, I mean, they're American-based, I believe, then you could ask them to bring it to the next convention that you're going to. But yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's an SEO exclusive product. Did you look up the top change?
Yeah, the only thing Wayne taught was his own Pinky Steel.
Was the what?
Was his own Pinky Steel.
Okay, so he's not taught it. He's coming back in December though, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah, so what I'll do is when he's back in December, we'll get him to teach the top change. and we'll get him to upload it onto the Netrix. Hopefully that should be okay for you guys. Okay, so the next question is by MCK Studios, and MCK Studio says, "Hi Craig, in memory of the late great Max Maven, what is your favourite effect he's created? May his soul rest in peace." Okay, very good question. I'm going to give you a top three. I'm going to give you a top three Max Maven tricks of all time, and you're right, he is an absolute legend. In third place, I can't remember the name of it. It was on his Nothing DVD from L&L Publishing, which is where he went and bought like $10 worth of stuff from a drugstore and just did a show with it. He had a version of the Bank Night routine with paper bags. It was brown paper bags, and they picked... they eliminated down to one bag, and as they eliminated each bag, you looked at what the prizes were inside, and they were all terrible, and they were all terrible prizes, and they, you were left with an amazing prize or something like that. I remember watching that and thinking that's really good. That was the first Bank Night routine that I'd seen that I could see myself doing. I played around with the Richard Osterlin one with the envelopes and the thumb tip, and that was great. But it was really the that Bank Night was the first thing that I saw that made me go, you know what, I could see myself doing that. That's awesome. So in third place, I'd say that from the Nothing DVD. In second place, I'd say B-Wave. It's a classic for a reason. It's absolutely amazing. It's been done by millions of magicians worldwide. It's one of the best-selling tricks of all time. It's incredible. And then in first place, I would say Pocket Nightmare. I've always loved Pocket Nightmare. It's great. If you don't know what it is, you can go check it out on Penguin Magic. I did a review on Magic TV about 1.5 years ago. It's a really great sort of gimmicked card trick, and the premise is amazing. You put one hand in your pocket. You do absolutely everything with one hand. And even though you're only using one hand, the card that they pick, you can tell them what it is, it vanishes, and it's in your pocket, in your hand that you've had there from the beginning. It's just brilliant. The routine and the construction and the whole thinking behind it is brilliant. So I'd say Pocket Nightmare is top. Second place, I'd say, is B-Wave, and third place is the Bank Night routine. Okay, so the next question is from I-Sarah K. And the question is, can you do a video about magicians' jokes? Or could you recommend sources for magicians' jokes and punchlines? I can do a video of like the top 15 jokes of all time that I think are the best jokes of magicians of all time. Absolutely. The problem is jokes are subjective, and what one person loves and another person might hate. It very much depends on your performing character, but I can do a video about the jokes that I like, no problem. And in terms of recommended sources for magicians' jokes, we're going to go back to Wayne Goodman. Now, Wayne is going to be filming some stuff on jokes and comedy with us in a future recording. I mean, he's just here filming all of the time. But let me just search here. Perfect. If you go onto his website, waynegoodman.co.uk, and you go onto the store, you're going to see a joke book collective. He's literally written 6 books on jokes. He's got the Comedy Magician Joke File, Volume 1, 2, and 3. And he's got the Joke File, Volume 1, 2, 3. 6 books altogether. The Joke Book Collective by Wayne Goodman. Some of these jokes are original, some are ad-libs, and some of the jokes I've heard or read over the years, but are all workable. Each volume contains 180 gags, or by 3 in the complete book. And the Comedy Magician Joke Files are different to the Joke Files. So in other words, he's got 6 books here, with 180 jokes in each book. Like, that's like over 1,000 jokes. And you can purchase the PDF version, or you can purchase the main version. So go on to waynegoodman.co.uk. When you're on there, go look at the Joke Book Collective. Not all of the jokes will suit you. I mean, I spend time around Wayne, and I'm going to be seeing him again this weekend, and he's constantly telling jokes. Some of them are brilliant, some of them are terrible and make me want to literally pull my ears off. But that's what I say, jokes are subjective. Some of the jokes that he does are brilliant, and I see him performing to real people, and he tells these jokes, and people just have an absolute blast listening to them. So however cringy I find some of them are, man, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to comedy. So go check out his books. They're probably the best resource that you will find on this subject. But in terms of doing a video, I can absolutely do a video on this subject in the future as well. Okay, so the next question is Stephen Devon Rue, and Stephen Devon Rue says, hello, great videos you put out, thank you. I am not a computer whiz, but trying to show a trick I have invented. How can I get help to see if the trick is good enough for the real world? My advice would be, first of all, the best way to see if it's good enough for the real world is for you to go and perform it in the real world. Nobody is going to know whether that trick is better for the real world than you. So the first step I'd say go and perform it. Go and take it to a friend's house and show it to a friend. Go and take it to the pub, show it to people in the pub. Go and walk to a stranger in the street and go and perform it to a stranger in the street. And if you aren't a performer and you don't want to go out and perform it, then reach out to a magician friend that you can trust and say, hey, I've got this trick I created. I really want to see if it will work in the real world. Can you go and perform it for me? Because I could say to you, hey, take the trick and, talk about it in a Facebook group or talk about it in this section or this section. And that's all well and good. But the trouble is people are giving you advice on a trick that you've created that they don't even know or have seen. Even if you jumped on Zoom with somebody and showed it, they're not going to know whether it works in the real world or not unless it's actually been taken out into the real world. So either take this trick and go out and perform it for a few months and then you'll know, or give it to someone you trust, get them to perform it for a few months and then you'll know. Either way, that's the best way to do it. Okay, so the next question is from Sting, and Sting says, hi Craig, speaking of German magicians, which ones do you know and what do you like about them? How about a top 10 German magicians special? Yeah, I mean, I am actually thinking about doing a special on magicians from various different countries and doing a few different videos. I have notes here, ironically. Not that I'm organised at all by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm actually researching for a different thing. But let me talk you through some German magicians I like. So Pitt Hartling, I think Pitt's great. Order to Amaze is one of my favourite books on memorised deck stacks of all time. Pitt is brilliant. I loved him on Penn and Teller Foolus. Who else have I got here on my list? Let me go through. Georg Alexander. Again, really smart guy. Very, very clever thinking. And really good. My favourite probably is Manuel Muerte. I got so inspired by his brand of sleight of hand, especially the stuff he does with coins and pens and so on and so forth. Absolutely brilliant. The master of misdirection. And if you haven't seen his DVD, go and check it out. It's brilliant. Who else have I got? I've got other people here. Thomas Frapps is really good. I don't know if you've ever seen any of his stuff, but he's great. Well worth checking into. And, oh my gosh, I haven't got it written down here. Oh, this is terrible. I'm trying to figure out. No. There's somebody else, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. I'm going to find out, and I'll update this. I'll come back to you on next week's Q&A or something. But I am doing a video on this subject and a whole bunch of other subjects to do with magicians from around the world. So look out for that. But those names, they're the ones that pop instantly to mind when I'm thinking about the best German magicians of all time. Okay, so the next question is from Scott, and Scott says, hey Craig, my question is, would regular caps be available for sale that match the Procaps colour? I'm having trouble finding caps that match here in the United States. Coke recently changed their caps to have large ridges on the side, and the blue cap is hard to find the right shade of. I never thought that'd be a problem. Obviously, they would be for handing out examination. Thanks, Scott. Not that I know of. The thing is, there's millions of caps in the world, Scott. There's millions of caps. I don't actually say that this is a Coke cap or anything like that. I mean, if you watch the tutorial, you know I just bring a cap out and I just throw it on the table. And there's no emphasis placed on it at all. So I think you're worrying about something that you don't need to worry about. Don't worry about it. I mean, and again, the routines are constructed so they're not going to want to examine the caps. But I mean, if you want to have the caps examined, buy yourself 2 Procap sets and just not use the insert in one of them, and then you've got an examinable cap. But I wouldn't even bother if I were you. I don't think it's an issue that the caps aren't matching Coke exactly, because I could go to my local shop and see hundreds of bottles and all of them have got different caps on. All you have is you have a cap. So I don't think it's an issue. But in terms of regular caps matching the Procaps colours, that's a question for Murphy's or Lloyd. I don't know, because it's not my product. I only did the routines. I can only really speak confidently about the routines that are on there, not really about decisions that are being made in terms of add-ons or anything like that. Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, and Adrian says, when I was young, I did card magic with the same cards I used for games, which were bridge-sized cards. Nowadays, I use poker-sized cards, and they feel huge and somewhat unnatural for my hands. How can I become better with card sleights? Any insights from teaching Ryan? And for him, a deck of cards must feel huge too. Yeah, I mean, I did consider, there was a lot of advice flown around in my direction when Ryland started doing card magic, that I should give him a bridge-sized deck. I made the decision not to. I made the decision to give him a poker-sized deck because I wanted him to get used to that pack of cards and not have to switch to it when his hands got a bit bigger. So he's been incredibly frustrated because he can't palm cards. His hands are still too still too small to do a normal classic palm. He can do back palming and stuff fine, but he can't do classic palming. So his hands are too small for that. A deck of cards does look huge in his hands, but he's just worked around it. He doesn't know any better. Everything's huge in his hands. Like when he started doing coin magic, a silver dollar would cover his entire hand. And he started doing coin magic, and it would literally, a palm would be just holding it in a fist. And as his hands have got bigger, he's been able to do more sleights and classic palms and so on and so forth. Well, it's the same with a pack of cards. Really, the best advice I can give you is just hold them constantly. You know, the way to get used to something is just constantly use it, because then that muscle memory will kick in. I can't really think of anything else to tell you in terms of, you want to make that deck of cards feel as natural as you can in your hands, and the way that you make that deck of cards feel as natural as you can in your hands is by just constantly walking around with it 24/7. You walk to the shops, hold that deck of cards with you. You go out, you hold that deck of cards with you. Just keep holding it, and soon it'll feel natural. And then when you pick up a bridge-sized deck of cards, that's the deck that will feel weird. And the final question, there's various people that have asked this, so I'm going to address all of them at the same time, was about live streaming. And it seems that a lot of people want me to start doing live streams on Magic TV. So it's something that we're going to look into. I spoke to Jack and Michael about that yesterday, and we're going to have a meeting about it a little bit later on to see if we can fit it into our schedule and see when the best time would be for it. But look for an announcement coming soon. We've got a lot of announcements when it comes to Magic TV and Netrix coming up over the next 4 weeks. So keep an eye out for those announcements. But yes, it is coming, and it's coming soon. I will start doing live streams. And for those people that said, I want to ask you guys a question, actually. I've had a few people ask me on here and email in saying that the Netrix should have a Discord server, and I've never bothered with the Discord server because we've got various different communities, and Silver Level have Zoom sessions which are recorded and put into their accounts, and so on and so forth. Do you think that the Netrix, this is a question for people that are in the Netrix or maybe considering joining, do you think it needs a Discord server? I don't know if it does, because there's other community areas that you can kind of play with, or does it need a Discord server? Let me know. If enough people want it, I'll do it. You know, that's my whole thing with Netrix. We're going to make it the platform that all of the end users want. We're going to make it as perfect as it possibly can be. And we're constantly strive to update it and improve it and make it better. And enough people want a Discord server, that's what we'll do. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. You want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget, if you want to get a question answered, make sure you get the question to me by Tuesday or Wednesday at the very, very latest. And if you haven't already done so and you want to check out the Netrix, please go to www.thenetrix.com and you can check out what all the fuss is about. There's going to be a bunch more videos coming up over the course of the next couple of days, including a review show special tonight at 9 o'clock. And if you're a kids entertainer and you haven't already done so, please go check out the Chris Frosty. Go check out his interview. It went live at 9 o'clock on Magic TV. You can go check that out. It's an incredible interview that went up last night at 9 o'clock. Anyway, I'll be back again soon. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again. My name's Craig from Magic TV.